Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this month's Vault Hours. This is the time of month where we get together with the Bitwarden community and talk about updates and news that's happening in the Bitwarden world. And I have a bunch of my team members here with me. My name is Vivian Schick, part of the marketing team. Welcome, everyone. It's been a while since I've hosted. So if things are a little less smooth today, please thank you in advance for your patience. Today is fall hours, but I actually found out this morning that today is also National Mint Julep Day. And did you know that there are about 120,000 mint juleps served during the weekend of the Kentucky Derby? And so I'm kind of inspired to bring out a little bourbon and mint and sugar for a drink later. So, anyway, before we begin, we'll introduce a little bit of today's agenda. We're going to actually, did I miss a slide? I think some of this
Hello.
went off a little bit. So,
Hello.
what's that,
Vivian.
Brian?
Oh, hi. I don't think anyone can see us. We're all in the hidden wing.
Oh,
We need to move
oops.
over to this stage.
Oh, we're still in the wings. Sorry about that. It's been a while since I've done this.
I don't want to deny the people my beautiful face, Vivian.
There
Oh,
we
there's the.
go.
Hey.
Oh, oh my gosh. This is, it really has been a while. So can everyone see us now? We're on the main stage, but you can hear me, right?
Yes, we were able to hear
You're
Yes.
you.
able to hear me. Okay, cool. Okay, got it. I think there was a few things missing on the slide, but some housekeeping items. If you have any questions, please chime in. Please send it across Slack or raise your hand. One of our team members is in the audience and will answer questions or alert me to pull you up to stage if you want to say something. And anyway, yeah, today it's a interactive experience. So today's agenda, we are going to talk a little bit about a new feature that we announced. This is a business feature called Bitwarden Access Intelligence. Ryan is going to talk a little bit about using AI agents and how Bitwarden can help secure their credentials. We're going to take a little bit of a look at some recent news and research that's shaping the threat landscape. We're going to also talk a little bit about translations and global support. We'll also update the team on some product features and updates. And then we'll head over to community questions and a little update on Bitwarden merch. Here are the housekeeping notes. So again, feel free to join on screen. If you have a note in the chat, just leave a note in the chat. I have a live question or comment and we'll pull you up. Any initial questions for the time being? If not, I'm going to hand it over to Casey to talk about Bitwarden Access Intelligence.
Cool. Thank you, Vivian. And I see some people in the chat talking about magic background. I know I should have had my magic background for this Vault Hours, but we'll be talking a little bit about magic backgrounds if you don't have it yet towards the end of the session, so you can learn a little bit more. But for right now, let's jump into Bitwarden Access Intelligence. If you go to the next slide. Access Intelligence is a enterprise offering from Bitwarden, and it was essentially developed because the Bitwarden team and other security experts in the industry are observing a really concerning trend, right? Data breaches, specifically for organizations, are becoming more frequent and more expensive. So, reaching almost about $4.9 million average. So really expensive and something that IT teams have to contend with pretty often. And if we go to the next slide, these organizations are doing everything that they can to try and prevent themselves from these data breaches, but there's also a lot of kind of internal challenges that they're experiencing, so making it really difficult to protect themselves. First is that IT teams are just under constant pressure, right? They're primarily have smaller teams than what they need. They're overwhelmed with alert fatigue, right? They get a lot of security alerts and have a really hard time prioritizing those. And that leads to a slower resolution of identified vulnerabilities. Employees as well, on average, are not necessarily making their job easier, right? A lot of employees have poor password best practices, reusing their passwords 25% of the time, and they're not necessarily motivated to change their behavior. Now, all of this is really compounded with the rise of AI enhanced phishing. So, AI phishing is more frequent, right? So, over 4,000% increase in phishing attacks since ChatGPT was released. And these attacks are more realistic, so much harder to decipher. So, with all these challenges, right, it is more important than ever to understand how to protect your organization against data breaches, and a big part of that is identifying and rectifying at risk credentials. And so that is where access intelligence comes in. And if we go to that next slide, I can show a little bit about that. So Bitwarden Access Intelligence, this is our new offering, helping to resolve some of those some of those challenges that organizations are experiencing. So kind of looking at this like flow, right? First, IT teams will be able to identify at-risk credentials throughout their organization. And while a lot of other solutions on the market help with this identification piece, they don't necessarily help prioritize. So Bitwarden Access Intelligence helps IT teams prioritize these at-risk credentials based on applications. So ensuring that the most important applications are protected first. And then they can immediately alert end users to resolve these at-risk credentials. So a lot of challenges that we've seen with IT teams currently is tracking down these employees to actually make changes within their process. And Bitwarden does this automatically for you and actually guides these end users step by step on how to update passwords specifically for these non-technical users. And then lastly, IT teams can monitor the progress from the Risk Insights dashboard. So if we want to move ahead, I would love to just show a short demo of what this looks like. So I'm going to steal the screen from you, Vivian, if that's okay with you. Beautiful. So this is a look at the Risk Insights dashboard for Access Intelligence. So you can see here, I am currently in the admin console. Under Access Intelligence, I can go to Risk Insights, and this is the Risk Insights dashboard. Here you can see that I have a full list of all the applications within my organization and the associated at-risk passwords associated with them. So at-risk passwords are considered any passwords that are exposed, reused, or weak. So similar measurements that you would see within the Vault Health reports, but this time it's much more easier to see a complete overview. So you can, from here, uh, rank the at-risk passwords. So you can see which applications have the most at-risk passwords. You can also see how many members, right, are at risk. So any member who has access to these passwords are considered at risk. And we can also filter and rank the applications based on this. So from here, this is a lot of information, right? And not necessarily something that you can act on until you start ranking them as critical. So let's rank, there we go, at-risk passwords. Looks like Twitch has a lot of at-risk passwords, but not necessarily a super critical application for us. Yahoo, right, that's an email provider. I'd say that's pretty important to lock down. They have a lot of at-risk passwords as well. Let's see, what else? Microsoft, Google, GitHub. That will be really important for us to lock down. So now that I've selected all these applications, I can mark them as critical up here. Great, so now they get a little star. And so we were looking at all the applications within the organization. And this is basically pulled from the URI that's associated with the login. Yeah, so at-risk passwords, I mentioned this a minute ago, but I might have gone through it too quickly. At-risk passwords are considered any passwords that are weak, reused, or exposed to exposed via data breach. So if I move to this critical applications tab, I get just a really nice short overview of all the applications that I've deemed as most critical to resolve. And I can also see the same information I saw beforehand. But from here, I've basically filtered down that long list of all these passwords that need to be updated, and have whittled it down to the most critical. And from here, I can request a password change. So clicking this will send out an alert to all of the end users within the organization that can manage permissions for these at-risk passwords. So notifying them that these passwords need to be updated to help secure the organization. So moving on over to that end user experience. End users and employees will be alerted in a couple of different places that they need to update their at-risk passwords. The first is an email that will look something like this, saying how many critical logins or at-risk passwords they need to update, and then giving them a pathway to do that. So email is a very common way to kind of kick off this resolution process. But also, employees will be alerted in the browser application as well that they have passwords that need to be updated. So they'll see this nice little pop-up within the browser application. And clicking on that pop-up, they can see the full list of all of the applications that need to be updated. Now, as a reminder, this is whittled down from that long list beforehand, so only focusing on what is most important for this user to update. What's really cool is that Bitwarden will also alert these employees whenever they navigate to the website that has an associated at-risk password. So you can see this little pop-up. This person is navigating to monday.com, and their admin has flagged monday.com as a password that needs to be updated. So they'll be alerted from the Bitwarden browser extension. Now, once I click on that change password call to action, what's really cool is that Bitwarden will automatically redirect employees to that associated change password form for that specific application. So if you can think back to the last time you had to change a password, having to dig through those settings and trying to find that right form, that's kind of annoying and even harder for non-technical folks. So Bitwarden streamlines this as much as possible, getting them to the right location so that way they can update their password as quickly as possible. With the inline autofill menu as well, Bitwarden will offer a generated password that is long, strong, and unique. And so ensuring that that meets organization requirements. And then Bitwarden will also save that for the end user. So completely, updating and resolving those at-risk credential vulnerabilities. And so then moving back to the kind of IT experience as well, if you go back to this Risk Insights dashboard, the IT team will be able to kind of monitor exactly, what progress has been made from this dashboard. They can drill down into at-risk members by clicking this little card here and see all of the members that still have at-risk passwords associated with these critical applications. So really easy to kind of monitor the progress as time goes on. Bitwarden Access Intelligence and everything that I showed here today is an enterprise offering that is currently available in limited preview. So if you're interested in trying this out for your organization, just contact sales and then they can do a more in-depth product demo, so a little bit more detailed than what I showed here today, and then get you connected with the risk insights and get that enabled for your organization. But a really cool feature that we're going to be continuing to build upon and continuing to make it a lot easier for IT to identify these vulnerabilities within the organization and then make sure that they are resolved, so making sure they can take action. But thank you, everyone. Is there any questions? I saw some love in the chat. That's awesome. Yeah, so if there's any questions, happy to answer them, or we can move on to the next topic.
Cool. Thanks, Casey. I'm going to grab the screen back from you.
Yeah.
And I would just add that with Access Intelligence, end users, so everyday users, can also benefit from knowing if you have at risk or vulnerable passwords through the Vault Health reports. So be sure if you are on a paid subscription or even a free subscription offers elements of the Vault Health report. So be sure to take advantage of that. Over to you, Ryan.
All right. Thank you, Vivian. I'd like to point out that in the Q&A panel, there were a bunch of questions there, usually about like, hey, when is this coming out? I went through and answered a bunch of those silently. So if you wanted to take a
I
look
saw that. Thanks, Ryan. Did you want to speak to any of these?
let me take a look here. You know what? Why not? Why don't we just go through all of them? Why not? So, archiving feature. When is that expected to arrive? I believe we had talked about that once before. I can't recall off the top of my head if it's been on the new published roadmap or not, which is located at bitwarden.com/roadmap for those who might be interested in seeing. There we go. But that's planned sometime later this year, not on the immediate short-term roadmap. When are the new desktop apps, autofill passwords, and passkeys expected to arrive? There is work being done on that right now, but we don't have a set timeline for that. But you do see that it is also listed on the roadmap. When is the syncing feature for the Authenticator app going live? Also from Daniel, very soon. We're working out some of the last couple of things on it, and possibly in the next month or so, you'll be seeing that. And then we had a question here: when will we be able to log in with passkeys and the browser extensions and the desktop app itself? That's actually really dependent on some of the technology in the platforms themselves. So it's the login with passkeys and the web application is dependent on the PRF, the WebAuthn PRF extension, which can allow passkeys to be used to decrypt data. And that is just simply not supported right now in extensions or on the framework of the Bitwarden desktop app. So we just need to wait for those platforms to catch up. The blocker for the browser extensions. I'll take a look at that to see what that said. But as far as I know, there is no planned work on it at the moment. But I can go bring that up with the team again.
All
So let's
right.
take
Thanks,
a
Ryan.
look at no problem, of course. And again, if anyone has any questions at all, just go ahead and drop it into the Q&A panel or even in the chat. We're keeping track of that. But speaking of keeping track of things, I have a topic today about how to keep track of AI agents' credentials. If we take a look at the next slide, just a quick explanation of what an AI agent is. For some reason, my first bullet there is very tiny. AI agents are basically automations that are powered by AI in the middle of it all. And you can actually take a look. I have a workflow over here on the right from open source automation tool N8N, which is popular among the Bitwarden community. This is just an example of how you can see this works out. So when a chat message is received, it goes into this AI agent that will go and talk to OpenAI, ChatGPT, basically go to memory and then look at in one of the internal APIs, formulate a response and send it out. So you can just have that chat conversation. There's a lot of things that you can do with this. It's really neat. People are being very creative about stuff. They're like NAN actually had a lot of examples on their website. Let me find that link. I was just looking at it, and I'll drop it into chat of what you can do with it. But one of the things that you need to think about is, there it was. There's 15 practical things in my history. Here we go. Here's the chat. Here it is. Some examples. But you need to figure out how these AI agents are going to be able to access some of the tools that they need. And a lot of times that could be giving them access to an API or giving them passwords to log in. So let's take a look at the next slide. And there are going to be ways to programmatically manage these logins for these AI agents. But for something that's a little bit more asynchronous, that's perhaps a little bit easier for folks who are getting started to work on keeping track of these things. It's kind of like this asynchronous, non-programmatic manual tracking. And there's a couple of ways to do that in Bitwarden that makes it pretty easy. So the first one, which I think is probably the best one, is simply just have a collection in which you take the login to the AI agent. So just a collection just specifically to the AI agent. And then you also add the credentials that they've been given into the same collection. Now, remember, in Bitwarden, a credential can belong to more than one collection at once. So you can just add it to every AI agent folder or collection here that's been given access to. So you can click, you would open up one of these things here, and you would see like the AI agent login, and then like I don't know, the Open AI API that it has access to, and then a bunch of other things. So if you ever need to make a change to something, you could easily like keep track of where that is and where it's been used. Also, you could do labels for searching. So you could just put hashtag agent in the notes, for example. And if you do a search in the web vault, anything with hashtag agent will pop up, and you can even be like more precise by saying like, hey, like customer service agent, this agent, whatever works best for you. And then a more interesting idea also is having a service account. And so that is like you would add a AI agents at mycompany.com user to your Bitwarden organization. And inside of that account's individual vault, you have all of the credentials that AI agent that you were using for AI agents. And then you take the master password and login information, and then you can add that to your team's organization. So then you have a collection for everybody in your organization to be able to access that Bitwarden account whenever they need to. And it's also even more handy when you also think of like, well, hey, I can also do account switching and have, if I have to work with AI agents all the time, I can have my Bitwarden extension logged into both my account and the AI agent account at once. So those are just 3 quick ways that you could just manage credentials for AI agents. Nothing super fancy here, just stuff you can do already with the tools that already exist. Cool. Any questions? I see a question from Danny. You can reach out to customer success and possibly your sales representative.
Yeah, I would recommend going to your sales representative. They'll be able to funnel you to the right location.
Great.
All right, thanks, Casey.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks, Ryan. So we're trying a new segment here today where we are talking about the latest news and research findings that are shaping the threat landscape. This was, we send out the Bitwarden newsletter and we ask people, what they're interested in. And this was a topic of interest for folks. So I thought we would try to shoot this into the Vault Hours. So this is not so much research per se, as it is a recent PSA that was issued by the FBI. This was an alert to the public to be aware of impersonation campaigns using text, which is called smishing, and AI-generated voice messages, vishing, that they're impersonating current and former U.S. federal and state government officials and their contacts. And so the objective of all of this is, of course, to try to build your trust, try to build rapport, and then, initiate some way for you to give these criminals access to accounts and information. So if you get a call or a text message from your senator, be very wary of that and know that this criminal activity is happening. Forbes also recently ran an article around 19 billion compromised passwords that have been published in the dark web. This was done by security researchers. And what they found was of the over 19 billion passwords, only 6% of those passwords were actually unique. And this password database includes usernames and email IDs that are linked to passwords. These are passwords that are sourced from other breaches, phishing kits, and other different cybersecurity and malware incidents. And so it's not just hidden on the dark web, it's actually circulating in different hacker forums and is actually, actively being used by criminals for credential stuffing. And as I mentioned, I was reading through the report, and one quote kind of jumped out at me around the unique password issue. This was a quote from a researcher that was part of this report, and they said that the default password problem remains one of the most persistent and dangerous patterns in leaked credential data sets. They uncovered that the word admin was used 53 million times, and the word password was actually used 56 million times. And so this is a reminder to all of us. If you reuse passwords in different platforms, different apps, a breach in one system can compromise the security of your other accounts. So you're creating kind of a domino effect there. So again, something we should all be mindful of. Those of you who are here on this, with us every month during Vault Hours, I know you guys are all really security conscious, so maybe this is a little bit preaching to the choir, but maybe you can help spread the word. Now, this was a research that recently came out. This was conducted by the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, or CSIS. This is, I guess, Canada's version of their CIA or spy agency. And they've been looking at this cyber criminal group based out of China called the Smishing Triad. They've been monitoring and following this group for about almost 3 years now. It's a highly sophisticated cybercrime network, and they're conducting very, very large scale smishing campaigns globally. And smishing campaigns is where they're spamming millions of people through text messages. And these text messages follow a very similar pattern. You might see something from the DMV. I just got one this morning from the DMV saying that my license is about to expire and I need to act urgently. Or from Fast Track in the Bay Area, this is the toll road fee system, and so we'll get text messages saying that our Fast Track system is expiring and we won't be able to use it. So there is a certain level of urgency involved in these text messages. So be very careful of that. To the right-hand side here, you see this map shows that just the global scale of the Smishing Triad network. There's about over 100 different companies that have been targeted by this group based on the domain names and the phishing URLs and the brands that they're impersonating. So basically 2/3 of the world's countries are being targeted. This was an interesting report that Brian Krebs, he's a renowned security researcher, former cybersecurity reporter for the Washington Post. He detailed the Telegram messaging app. So Telegram was launched in August of 2013. Over the years, it's become the go-to messaging app for very privacy-focused groups. It's very easy to use. It's borderless. Users can remain anonymous. And so it has become not only the go-to messaging app for privacy-focused users, it is also very popular among cyber criminals. And so this report shows that the way that cyber criminals are using Telegram to distribute malware, to sell illegal goods and services, to coordinate phishing kits and selling phishing kits. So this has become a very central, very prominent place for organized cybercrime groups. It's become a hub for sharing all of that cyber criminal and operational intelligence. And to the right-hand side here, this is actually a site that is published by the Smishing Triad, which was mentioned previously. And this is a marketplace for phishing kits. And so phishing kits are basically kits that criminals put together to sell to other criminals, and it includes different web development software, different graphics and templates and sample scripts and all of that stuff that other criminals can then purchase and launch their own phishing scams. And so there's a really interesting detailed analysis and report around the Telegram app. What's interesting is last year, the CEO got arrested for some of these issues that are happening on his platform. And so they also made some policy changes. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not cyber criminals eventually move off of the Telegram app. Actually, this is a good reminder for me to open up this poll here. I should have done it sooner. And let me know if you can see this poll. It is asking, have you ever clicked on a phishing link? And, oh, wow. Nice. It seems like most of I'm not surprised by this audience. Most people are very careful and have not clicked on a phishing link. Some have. I have. I believe it was a text from who I thought was my CEO, and so I accidentally did reply to it. And not surprised that people here know what a phishing link is. So great. And then let's see. Oh, well, I didn't want to end on a doom and gloom note. So I wanted, we know all of this. We're all very security conscious folks who are here during vault hours. So, all of these things we all know about, verify independently. So especially with AI generated scams, some of these sound, if you get a call from your partner, your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and saying that they're in trouble, it could be hard to, not fall into the trap. So one thought is to create secret independent phrases or code words with your colleagues, friends, and family members, just in case. Just to verify this is not an AI generated recording or voice. Always be skeptical of urgent requests, strengthen authentication. I'm sure we all know that. Lastly, just as a reminder, security is a team sport. So we can't do it alone. Security, we're all on the front lines. So if you have an opportunity to share tips with a friend, help them get started with practicing better password hygiene, etc., habits, please take a moment and do so. Great. Any questions? I don't think so. So we can move on to Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Vivian. That was really interesting. I've always been hit up with those phishing links, and yeah, sometimes you just click on them accidentally. So it was really interesting to learn about. But yeah, hey guys, this morning or this evening, I guess wherever you guys are, I'm going to be talking about how Bitwarden helps supports users worldwide through Bitwarden translations and server selections. Yeah, so Bitwarden is pretty cool. It supports 60 plus languages through the web app, desktop app, browser extensions, mobile app, all of our platforms. And through all the platforms, it defaults to either your system or browser language. But if you would like to independently manually choose your language, you can change it in your web app and desktop app by going to settings and preferences. And what's really cool about our translations is it's powered by you, the community. Bitwarden uses a service called Crowdin, where anyone can come in and help translate from Bitwarden English to a native language or language you're familiar with. So you can head on over to the link right there, and I'll drop it in to the chat after this if anyone's interested in checking it out and helping translate into a different language. Another cool thing, bitwarden.com website and online documentation. If you scroll to the bottom of any bitwarden.com webpage, on the bottom right, there's a little drop down where you can choose between one of our 6 popular languages: German, French, Spanish, English, etc. And so it's really here to help anyone understand and utilize Bitwarden. Now we're going to talk about where your data is located. Bitwarden uses 2 locations to store user data in the cloud, either in the US or in the European Union. So when you sign up for your Bitwarden account through any of the clients, you have a drop-down menu, and you can select whether you want to start your Bitwarden account with US servers or European Union servers. And there's an important note that Bitwarden accounts only exist in the region where you started your account. But you can migrate regions. It takes a little bit of time, but if you started in the US and want to remain housed in the European Union, you can migrate by exporting all your data, setting up a new organization in the region that you want, contact support if you have a paid account and they can transfer your subscription over, and then you can import your data. And we really want to give Bitwarden really wants to give you the flexibility to house your data in whichever region you think is appropriate. And this is just a screenshots of where. Sometimes it's a little tricky, but screenshots of where you can do the drop down to your server, either the US server or the EU server. And yeah, we'll let it rotate through. Next slide. Yeah, so we have a poll. Vivian, if you want to open it up. Do you use Bitwarden in another language other than English? We're kind of curious.
Yep, it's open.
Sweet.
And most use Bitwarden in English.
Yeah, Vivian, maybe
uses, yeah.
while that we're talking about polls, maybe we can share the first poll, the results of the first poll that you did, just that way everyone can see.
Yeah, I did. It's revealed.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. All of the polls are visible and revealed.
Great. Yeah, I guess it would be an interesting experiment if you're trying to learn another language. Just translate Bitwarden into another language. It's really cool that we use Crowdin to really help with that. So I'll drop a link to Crowdin if anyone's interested in contributing to translating into a different language. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, I'm impressed for the person that is switching between two languages. That's very impressive. Did you guys see there was a community post this morning about they found out that using apostrophes in your password, they're also switching between two languages. And he found out that when he copied a password in over to his friend's Asian language Bitwarden account or his language pack, that the apostrophe got a little messed up. And so it wasn't recognizing it as the same password, even though he had copied and pasted exactly the same. So something to note is if you are using different languages, just note that the way that they're interpreting the apostrophe in different languages could change your password. All right. Let's see. I think this is you, Ryan, again.
Indeed, it is. So these are just a couple of quick updates, Bitwarden. Just a few things that have come up that might not have been big enough to have its own section. So first is the edit and delete permissions. We talked about this last Vault Hours, and so there is an upcoming change to people who are assigned to collections with the edit items permission. This is going to be going live next week. It's right now, because it's already been released and we're just waiting for it to get out to all the other clients. And so if you now have the edit items permission, you will be able to delete an item from a collection. Before, you had to have the manage collection permission to get there, to be able to do that. And so this actually represents us going back to how it was prior. The can manage option was delegating this to the can manage permission was added, I think, in December. But now we're going back to edit items also being able to delete, but we're also adding in a option for you to be able to switch or toggle in between. So now you can actually go, the owner of the organization can go into the collection management settings and select whether or not somebody has to have the manage collection permission to be able to delete an item or not. Bulk file exports. This was something that was we had talked about last week. People were very excited about it. So now you can export all of your items out of an individual vault. When they are attached, they all get zipped up and exported alongside your vault. But now you can do this from almost every Bitwarden client. So the only one that doesn't have this yet is mobile, and that is coming soon. So CLI, extension, web app, desktop app, you'll be able to do it all. I have a question about why the change on the permission. We had a lot of community feedback about a lot of workflows that were interrupted by that change, and some people wanted folks to be able to delete items, but not add or remove people from collections, which was what the managed permission would allow. So now we allow now it's set up so that you can choose how you want it to go. Dynamic colors. This is a fun one. This is only for Android users, so sorry everybody else. But now Bitwarden is going to be subscribed to the Material U language. So Bitwarden will automatically change the UI colors and also its icon to match your phone background. So you might have a lot of other apps that already have this functionality. So now it's coming to Bitwarden too. So Bitwarden will look really nice alongside all your other apps in a nice cohesive color scheme. So this will be coming in this next week's release. So look out for that.
Thanks, Ryan. Don here on the technical team. We're going to jump into some community questions. So we'll get started with one about master passwords. So this is a hot topic in our community spaces, whether it's Reddit or the forums. So just highlighting again that Bitwarden Security Readiness Kit. We made this in collaboration with community members. It's a great way to prevent yourself from first getting locked out through that. If you store your Bitwarden credentials only in your Bitwarden account, you need to make sure that you have that stored elsewhere. So two of the most popular ways are printing this sheet out and using that in a physical safe, or you can store that information on something like an offline hard drive where you can also store different versions of your Vault export. If you want to hear more tips and tricks, this is discussed very in depth on the forums and on Reddit, and we'll share a link shortly to get access to all those spaces. Our next question is about how to log in securely when you're using different gaming consoles. So I'm a big gamer myself, and a lot of consoles nowadays let you scan that QR code with your smart device. The awesome thing about that is different platforms like PlayStation and Nintendo let you log in seamlessly with passkey, which is phishing resistant, so it only works on the originating website, so you can't land on a phishing site. So once you scan that QR code being displayed on your console, you can bring up your phone camera. That'll let you log in using Bitwarden and any passkeys or passwords that you have stored there. So super awesome and seamless to do that on any platforms that support it. So this one is for a lot of our community members who spend most of their time in the mobile app or browser extension and may not hit the web app too much. But every free account includes a data breach report. So from this settings menu, you can find the web app, and from there under reports, you'll be able to see any of your accounts that have been exposed in a data breach. Super helpful to jump in there, use that password generator and update that credential on the matching website. And linking in with what Casey brought up earlier, Access Intelligence is just a super awesome way for enterprise teams to highlight critical apps and easily send those password change requests. So no matter your plan, there's something there for you. You just might need to check out that web app to get access to those spaces. Head over to bitwarden.com if you want to get involved or learn more about the different things that were discussed, from localization, submitting feature requests. We have beta programs, user research, and list all of our events. And you can find that all at bitwarden.com/getinvolved. And now over to Sai.
Hey everybody, my name is Sai from the technical marketing team, and I am going to talk to you about some of our Bitwarden merch, or as we like to call it, or at least I like to call it, some of our Bitwarden swag, whether that is physical products or digital. So if you want to move to the next slide, if you have not checked it out already, I know at least a few of you had. Danny, I know you are a fan of our Bitwarden shop. So we've got a big variety of physical merch, whether you want to show off your love for Bitwarden with a shirt, a hat, a mug, anything you can think of. We definitely have lots of cool stuff, and I'm sure Ryan can say he's gotten most of it over the years. Definitely some good stuff in there, and we do have some new items. You can see one on the screen there around "Don't Feed the Fish." So do check that out. We do update the shop from time to time to bring in more items, or based on things that everybody is requesting. So keep an eye out there for cool new stuff. And then I wanted to highlight two awesome free resources, or swag, as it were. So we did already have a mention of the Bitwarden Magic Backgrounds, which I'm using today, and so was Chris. So this is a free virtual background maker that can help you spread cybersecurity awareness, as well as help kind of get some of those conversations started without needing to, say something per se. They've got a bunch of different phrases related to cybersecurity, that don't feed the fish, be cyber smart, not cyber sorry, and a bunch of other nice little phrases along those lines. You've also got a variety of themes and colors. So in addition to kind of the big text like you see in my background, you can see the small one here on screen. And there's also more of like a bubble layout, and we've also got a variety of colors, not just the Bitwarden blue. There's also some purple and orange. So it just depends on what you like. But that's kind of a cool offering. And then if you want to move to the next slide, this last one I want to highlight. So for any existing customers, there are a bunch of free resources available with our customer activation kit to help you and your team roll out Bitwarden. So everything from branded marketing materials, the Bitwarden logo, our colors, and things like that, as well as different resources for onboarding, including best practices for how to drive adoption and spread awareness, not only of Bitwarden, but of general cybersecurity. So if you haven't checked that out before, I highly recommend taking a peek. It is a great resource to have. You don't need to reinvent the wheel when you're trying to roll things out. You can use what we've already designed and just retool it for your own purposes. One more thing here along those same lines. So I'm sure in addition to talking about swag, everybody likes to get free swag. So if you've participated in our Vault Hours before, you might already know in every Vault Hours, we do a giveaway to our Bitwarden store. So if you go to that bitwarden.com/shop and fill out the contact form within the next 24 hours, just leave something in the comment that says something along the lines of you heard about the giveaway during Vault Hours 52. And then if you're a winner, you'll be notified via email. Sorry, no repeat winners. We want to give everybody a chance. But then you can use the code that you'll receive as a winner towards any gear that you like. So whether you want to make sure you get a t-shirt in your size, or you're a fan of the stickers, I know I've got a water bottle covered in stickers myself, can take advantage of that. Back to you, Vivian.
Thanks, Sai, and thank you to Dawn and Casey and Ryan for answering some of the questions. I see, Ryan, thanks for responding to Bert. Yeah, and I think you'll bring that feedback to our product team for more input. Does anybody have any last-minute questions or comments before we end this month's Vault Hours? I do want to thank everyone for their participation, for attending, for the questions, for the conversations. Like I said, this is an opportunity for us to connect with all of you, get to know all of you, but also hopefully for you to have a chance to get to know the Bitwarden team as well. If not, I'm going to close this out with some music. We'll hang on for a few minutes if anyone has any last-minute questions, but otherwise, hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everyone.